AF has not held their AGM, nor released an election roadmap. If you get the opportunity to serve in this ministry or don't want to hear what you intend to do, I do know you're a football fan, but the teams that you support are not Kenyan teams, at least the ones I see you online supporting. What will you do to make sure that our football gets back its glory and at least Kenyans can be watching our Premier League the way they watch the English Premier League? Two, you have clearly put out your report card for the time that you are the Ministry of Roads and Infrastructure. I remember a year ago, you appeared in Parliament and promised Parliament and the people of Kenya that you would be exploring PPP as a model, an alternative model of financing huge infrastructural projects. I do know there was some work on Adani at the airport. Would want to hear whether this is the Kipchumba Murkomen who has been accused on social media of selling, in quotes, our airport. Did you or did you not sell our airport? And who did you sell to?
Take Junet as well.
The Speaker.
Yes.
I have taken note that the CS nominee, last time we vetted him here under your chairmanship. And I've seen he has just come with the same suit that he came with that time. I have the picture with me here in my phone, Mr. Speaker. Yes. I was waiting for a different one.
It's the same suit.
The same suit and the same tie. I was looking for something else.
Maybe that's his attire of luck.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, Mr. Speaker. Maybe the people who live in the valleys of Elgeyo Marakwet told him, if you want to get approval, just take that suit and that tie. Yes. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, the question I want to ask him is that one is about this Ministry of Sports. I wanted to ask him that about protection and growth of local content. What measures will you take to protect Kenyan artists from plagiarism? Then how is the government going to assist local artists, local creatives in achieving 60% of content for local broadcast? How will you ensure that all Kenyans, including those who do not have access to TV, can consume our local content? How will you achieve that? And lastly, Waziri, from your previous office, please put it very clear to this committee. What is this matter of Adani and Jomo Kenyatta Airport? When did you travel to India? Whom did you go? What is the content of the letter? Everything. We want to know whether the Jomo Kenyatta Airport is still Kenyan Airport or it is now Mumbai International Airport. Please.
Yes, nominee.
Mr. Chair, as a matter of fact, what...
You either refer to me as chairman or speaker. I'm not a chair. I'm sitting on one.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
The chairperson or chairman.
Yes.
Why don't you like chairperson, Mr. Speaker? Because you don't want to give room for agenda. Yes. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If I say this, I will offend you and other people. I am an ardent fan. Contrary to what Mr. Kimani Ichungwaah said, I am a serious fan of Gor Mahia. I used to. Does
that offend me?
Because you are a fan. I suspect you are AFC.
I'm a fan of Arsenal. No. My local team is AFC.
On a light note, I used to. On Saturdays in the St. Patrick's High School, we used to be allowed to get out of school. So we used to sneak from Iten all the way to Eldoret to watch Gor Mahia play KCC. And I was really used to be thrilled. So I've been a Gor Mahia fan for a long period of time. Besides that, in UK, I support Manchester, and in Spain, I support Real Madrid. Mr. Speaker, sport is for fun. And Mr. Speaker, I agree with Honorable Kimani Ichungwaah. Those days when we used to support Gor Mahia, AFC, and all the other teams, Shabana, among others, KCC, we even used to know all the players, up to the reserve team. Now, Mr. Speaker, I don't even know our Gor Mahia players, who they are, even when they change. Why? Because the standard of football has gone down over time. It is a paradox because media, access to media has increased. Meanwhile, the accessing sports and publicity of sport and standard of sports has gone down. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I agree with Honorable Kimani Ichungwaah that the place that has to start is, Mr. Speaker, football, sports management, and for this purpose, FKF. Mr. Speaker, it is not right that for the last 8 years, you have an organization that has a leadership in office that has not been elected, but they are there in perpetuity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's not just FKF, it's AK. AK has been there for 12 years without an election. Cricket Association, the same. Badminton, the same. Mr. Speaker, for swimming, the same. There is a problem, a serious problem, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to sports management in this country. And Mr. Speaker, what is also worse is that there is a collaboration. And unfortunately, as an officer of the court, I have to say this. There is a collaboration between these organizations and, Mr. Speaker, court orders. If you find why the AK has never held elections for 12 years, it's because they are perpetuating themselves using a court order. That is the same way the FKF is perpetuating itself along a court order. Mr. Speaker, the first thing I will do is to make sure that we bring all the stakeholders, and Mr. Speaker, I promise I'll do that within the next 1 month, all the stakeholders in different sectors of sports to make sure that we have a conversation on how to turn around these sports. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I would like, and I hope the Chief Justice is watching me, or even if she's not watching me, she'll be told. I'd like to have a meeting with the Chief Justice, Mr. Speaker, should I be approved, to discuss with the Chief Justice how they will expeditiously make decisions in relation to, Mr. Speaker, elections and officials of sports associations. Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice and our judges must understand that they are blocking young people from accessing opportunities, Mr. Speaker. The third issue, Mr. Speaker, is that I am going to request those people who have served for more than 8 years in any federation, Mr. Speaker, to recuse themselves and give an opportunity to new people who have energy and vigor to be elected, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that they take over these associations. The last thing, Mr. Speaker, I'll say on that point is
they will never recuse themselves.
I know.
Just restructure the constitution.
I'm coming to the next one.
Give them 2 terms, non-renewable. After 2 terms, 3 years, 4 years, they finish, they go.
I was coming to that, Mr. Speaker. I was coming to the next issue. The next issue, Mr. Speaker, is that we will make sure that we will not finance any sports federation that, Mr. Speaker, is not following the Sports Act and does not do regular elections. Mr. Speaker, the other issue that we must deal with is that we cannot hide. Our sports federations cannot continue to hide, saying that the resources they get from FIFA or World Athletics Organization or International Badminton Organizations are not subject to auditing. We must audit that money, Mr. Speaker, and we will involve Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, we will involve DCI if it requires, Mr. Speaker. That money is given to Kenya, not for the association themselves. It's on behalf of the young people of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and we must take them by the horns, Mr. Speaker. And I promise you, I am not an easy person to play with. I am going to go straight to these federations. I'm going to deal with these federations. And if they accept, if they want to, Mr. Speaker, to continue operating, they must accept to work with us. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to say that to return our football and to return our sports, Mr. Speaker, back, we must also make sure that football management is done well, but on the other side, we must also support the private sector. For example, Safaricom with Chapadimba, they're doing a very good job in identifying talent. We need to encourage other associations, other companies, Mr. Speaker, with tax rebates that are paid on time and transparently to make sure that we return private sector to be able to support our sports teams, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know there are many other issues on sports, but that was very specific to FIFA and the cases that are there. Mr. Speaker, as a matter of fact, Mr. Mwenda is my friend, Mwendwa, and Tuei is a person I know. I want these people to just believe in the people of Kenya and give